Sometimes, not generally, but sometimes the majority can mean that just all the fools are on the same side. And that's what the court's there for. And I'm rather fond of the Bill of Rights, too, and I know you are as well. I've never believed that the Bill of Rights was there for the high school quarterback or the prom queen. They're covered by it, but the Bill of Rights is there to protect the rights of people who don't see the world exactly like everybody else or who don't look exactly like everybody else. Now, unfortunately, through history, we have had people, some well-intentioned, who tried to delegitimize the Supreme Court. We had a president way back when who tried to impeach a Supreme Court justice.
Hey there, civic enthusiasts. Let's break down what Senator Kennedy really said to Judge Jackson at her Supreme Court hearing. You know, these opening statements aren't just about the nominee, they're about the senator making their mark. Kennedy? He kicked things off with a polite nod, congratulating Judge Jackson and even joking about their clothing colors matching Louisiana's favorite universities. It's classic Kennedy, winsome but with a chess move behind every word. He then praised the Biden team for picking Doug Jones as an advisor, calling him smart and trustworthy. This wasn't random flattery, it was Kennedy setting the mood for a respectful, if tough, conversation. Then came the heart of it. Kennedy asked, what gives the Supreme Court its legitimacy? His answer? Public trust. The idea that justices must be honest brokers, not political players.
I hope we will be able to use this hearing today to talk about, if not implicitly, at least implicitly, two subjects. The first is the legitimacy of the United States Supreme Court. Where does the court get its legitimacy? What can we do to enhance it? Judicial legitimacy is important. I don't need to tell you that. I'm rather fond of the Constitution. I know you are too. When members of the United States Supreme Court interpret it, I want the American people to believe them. I want the American people to say, well, I may not agree, but the men and women who made that decision are intellectually honest and people of good faith. One of the primary roles of the United States Supreme Court is to uphold the rule of law. And sometimes justices have to uphold the rule of law when it's not popular. Sometimes justices have to uphold the rule of law when it's not popular with the majority of Americans. Boy, that's tough. It's also important.
He reminded everyone that the court's real power depends on Americans believing the justices call it straight, even when the decisions are unpopular. He dropped history too. Court packing schemes, past impeachment threats, even the impeach Earl Warren days.
Sometimes, not generally, but sometimes the majority can mean that just all the fools are on the same side. And that's what the court's there for. And I'm rather fond of the Bill of Rights, too, and I know you are as well. I've never believed that the Bill of Rights was there for the high school quarterback or the prom queen. They're covered by it, but the Bill of Rights is there to protect the rights of people who don't see the world exactly like everybody else or who don't look exactly like everybody else. Now, unfortunately, through history, we have had people, some well-intentioned, who tried to delegitimize the Supreme Court. We had a president way back when who tried to impeach a Supreme Court justice. We had another president who wanted to pack the court. I remember the impeach Earl Warren sign during the Warren Court. And most of the people who want to delegitimize the Supreme Court believe that unlike our founders, in my judgment, believe that members of the Supreme Court ought to be and are politicians in robes. They believe that the United States Supreme Court ought to be a mini Congress. They believe that the law is not the law. The law is supposed to just be politics practiced in a different way. And they believe in court packing, and they're wrong.
The warning? If you treat justices like politicians, you break the system. But Kennedy wasn't done. He rolled into one of his favorite topics: who actually makes the law? He laid out the difference between representative government, where elected folks write the laws, and what he called declarative government, where agencies and judges make the rules instead. Should unelected bureaucrats have that much power? That's the question he wanted Judge Jackson to chew on.
Number two, I hope today that we can use this as an opportunity to talk about, if not explicitly, at least implicitly, that's what I'm going to try to do, the appropriate balance between representative government and declarative government. Now, in representative government, as you well know, people, through their elected representatives, make policy. In declarative government, policy is made by the unelected, the administrative state, and the federal judicial. Now, both are important. Both are important. I'm not saying this is a zero-sum game or either or. But what's just as important is we have the appropriate balance between representative government and what I'll call declarative government. I mean, we have an administrative state. Did any of us ever think it would get this big? Is that healthy? We need to ask ourselves that. Is it really healthy to arrive at a circumstance where the administrative state passes 35 laws a year to our one? Is it really healthy to have an administrative state that makes its own laws, interprets its own laws, and enforces its own laws before courts, with respect to which the administrative state appoints the judges? I think that's a fair question to ask. In terms of, with respect to declarative government in the Supreme Court and the federal judiciary.
Finally, Kennedy closed in on the big job. What is a judge supposed to do? He argued for restraint. Don't make new law, don't chase your own opinions, interpret what's written, and leave the rest to the people. He even quoted Justice Warren saying value judgments belong to voters, not the bench.
Federal judges have enormous power. They have to, but they do. They have enormous power. You're appointed for life. You can't be unelected. Your salary can't even be reduced. And you have to have that power. Judicial power is important. So is judicial restraint. I believe that the appropriate role of the federal judiciary is the following. Federal judges don't make law. They don't tell us what the law ought to be. They tell us what the law is. Now, I said primarily because, of course, sometimes federal judges make law. I mean, you make the law of the case. You decide a case. You have to tell us what reasonable means in terms of searches and seizures. You have to help us define restraint of trade after we pass a statute. So, of course, judges make law. But I'm talking about the proper balance. I'll leave you with these last thoughts, and then I'll yield back my time. I want you to hear the words of one of, in my opinion, is one of our most distinguished Supreme Court justices. I'm going to read his words. The American people love democracy, and the American people are not fools. The people know their value judgments are quite as good as those taught in any law school, maybe better. Value judgments, after all, should be voted on, not dictated. I look forward, Judge, to getting to know you better.
So Kennedy's opening wasn't a takedown, it was a roadmap for the kind of justice he thinks America needs. Did you catch the strategy? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hey, if you like this breakdown, hit subscribe for more hot news today. Thanks for watching.